The Bitcoin Group, the American original. For over the last 10 years, the sharpest Satoshis, the best Bitcoins, the hardest cryptocurrency talk. We'd like to welcome our panelists, Victoria Jones from Satoshi's Page,
Hello, hello.
Josh Shigala from the Standard.io,
Oh, I didn't see you come in. Good morning.
and I'm Thomas Hunt from the World Crypto Network. Moving on to issue one. Issue one, Bitcoin tops $63,000 a coin for the first time since November 2021. Spot Bitcoin ETFs are seeing massive inflows of money, and Bitcoin is crossing $1,000 milestones one after another in quick succession. As well as one new reason for the Bitcoin mania, simply not enough supply. There's a fundamental law of economics at play in the new Bitcoin market mania. It's supply and demand. Yes, the media is waking up to the halvening. Victoria Jones, what do you think about the price of Bitcoin and the upcoming supply halvening that will cut the supply of Bitcoin in 50%, down by half?
Yes, it's very exciting. We've wasted a long time for this in anticipation of it. Historically in Bitcoin's price cycle, there's always been an exponential rise sometime after the halving. Often what happens is it will kind of settle down after the halving and then there'll be another exponential rise. But it does appear that the ETFs have completely changed the game this time, and they're all fighting over the few Bitcoins that Bitcoiners won't let go of. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Well, I want to stage the first complaint here. I am mad. I am upset. Why didn't we have these stupid ETFs years ago when the price of Bitcoin was nothing, when all of us probably had more coins? Why couldn't they have gotten their business together and started buying these obviously great assets called Bitcoin? I was talking to my brother today about how we don't even really need to do this work anymore. People on CNBC who are famous CEOs and rich people are telling other people how great Bitcoin is. We don't even need this grassroots thing anymore. That's how far we've come. That's what we have. But again, what if this had happened 2 years ago, 4 years ago, 6 years ago with the Winklevi or other people? We would have had this same effect of big money coming in and hoovering up or vacuuming them up all the Bitcoin. And Adam Back also said 100K before the halving, which is now back on the table as a possibility. Josh Shigala, what do you think? The big money people are here. Suddenly Bitcoin's not for criminals anymore. Suddenly it's 10% of everyone's portfolio.
Yeah, I'd like to see an apology from some of these headlines as well. So the stuff that we had to fight against along the way has been crazy. But yeah, I don't know, man. Like once everybody's in the money, and remember, folks, please remember, it doesn't just go up. And the thing is, once people have a good amount of profit, they start to, their better half goes, you better sell a little bit. You've already made 200% or whatever it is, or 115, but you've already made 15%. That's where it starts. So it can get really intense in the family home when it's going up like this. And that people that are in the profit now have been waiting 4 years, some of them. And so there are a whole bunch of people that have got a lot of pressure behind them. But the difference this time is that you do have BlackRock and 9 other ETFs, by the way. I pick on BlackRock because it's the brand, but there's 9 other quite large ETFs that are very well connected. And more to be greenlit in Europe soon as well, probably.
Well, and the real horror show is here, right, Josh? The banks are literally buying up your Bitcoin. When you lose interest, when you give up on Bitcoin and you sell, the banks come in and buy it up. And it's the kind of thing where I used to tell people, try to get one Bitcoin. It's only $500. It's only $1,000. It's only $20,000. It's $50,000, right? It's no longer possible to say to a normal person, just get a Bitcoin. Maybe
No.
half a Bitcoin, maybe a tenth of a Bitcoin. But if these bankers keep buying it up and they have no reason after they've bought it. They don't have to sell to pay rent. They don't have the problems that you have. You get in a car accident, you owe a bunch of money. Stuff like this doesn't happen to the banks. So they can buy and hold on a system, on a strategy. And I think we're going to see that, right?
Yeah, that's right. But they also will sell. You know, a lot of people talk about buying, but there's people that will also sell the ETF. So yeah, interesting times, interesting times. It's amazing that we're already at 62. This 100 push-ups per day till $100. It's not going to be that hard.
It's a lot of push-ups. Let's go to the next issue before we predict the price. Issue 2, Merrill Lynch and Wells Fargo are taking Bitcoin ETFs even more mainstream. Wells Fargo and Merrill Lynch are following the other banks as if they were dominoes, as predicted on this show many times. Look it up. Once the banks join in, one or two of them will break. The other ones will have to join like dominoes. And here are the dominoes. Their customers are demanding Bitcoin. They would love to make the 3% or whatever it is off it and not give it to BlackRock. Josh Agala, what do you think about Merrill Lynch and Wells Fargo are here to give you a Bitcoin ETF?
It's just playing out so hilariously as we all predicted, isn't it? It's amazing. But yeah, I don't actually like these banks coming in and taking up our precious Bitcoin. And really, we should be calling for a Wall Street bet style hold. Don't let them take it. Don't let them take it. You know, don't let them break GameStop. Just keep buying. I like the stock. I like the coin.
Well, and we talked about 6102 last week and the idea that like in 1933, the government could come and seize your gold. I don't think it's going to be that way. I think it's going to be like Josh says with this persuasion. They're going to offer you 62K. They're going to offer you 64K, 67K, 80K. They don't care. They've got a deal set up to sell this at 120K, right? So they're good. They can just keep offering you and you'll think it's a good deal eventually, but they'll just keep making money. So it's a very tough time for Bitcoiners. Everyone wants to sell, and now there's actually someone there waiting to buy. Victoria Jones, what do you think about Merrill Lynch and Wells Fargo joining the 9 already announced ETFs?
Yeah, I mean, they're all piling on the bandwagon, and of course, we've seen in Bitcoin's history that it goes through these phases. I mean, the ETF funds are run by human beings who are just inclined to be emotional as us normal folks. But what's scary in this situation is that they've got a lot of money to make more mistakes, so they can buy it on the way up and they can also sell aggressively on the way down. And so, those people on the ground who've been, saving in Bitcoin and maybe seeing it as an alternative to a pension could easily be wiped out by those kinds of shenanigans. So in many ways, the game gets even more dangerous. And in fact, the faster and higher it goes up in a short space of time, you could equally see the same thing in the opposite direction. And of course, all you need is that kind of volatility to really shake out some of the normal retail investors. And that's probably what they're counting on, because people will be going, oh my God, it's about to reach the all-time high, which is when it's gone a parabolic bump. Now is the time to buy. And then before you know it, they've taken the floor out of the market. They've got the power to do those games. And even though it seems to be going parabolic because GBTC has slowed down in its selling, they've still got a large number of Bitcoins that they want to sell. I believe in one of the articles, apparently the US government still owns 215,000 Bitcoins, still got, the Mt. Gox Bitcoins that people talk of selling, so there are still some hidden large players that could suddenly, dump Bitcoins on the market. So I wouldn't say we're out of the woods completely. I don't feel that way. And also, if you look at the wider financial system, I mean, a lot of people worry about the fact that BlackRock could take over Bitcoin, which I don't think is a serious consideration really. But I think what the main risk I've always highlighted has been about these ETFs is that they have the potential to break the entire financial system. The way in which our existing financial system is structured is very precarious. And one of the reasons it's been allowed to be built this way is because we didn't have a sound money system. And ultimately, that's what Bitcoin is designed to introduce. And the traditional financial system, not only is it precarious, but it's also highly leveraged. And we've all seen what happens to over leveraged Bitcoiners in the short term. Imagine that happening to the wider financial system. So, we live in very tricky and precarious times. It's going to be really tricky to play this scenario well going forward, I think.
I would agree. It is a disaster for the current financial system having this alternative of Bitcoin sound money. It reminds me of a similar situation when the USSR and Cuba were the only communist states in the world. So essentially all the other capitalist states were working against them, whether they were just trying to produce better and cheaper goods, which worked against them, or if they were actively working against them. The people inside the USSR saw the blue jeans and the cassette players and the televisions and the wealth of the capitalist nations, and they wanted in. So it's changed a lot of things with Bitcoin's brand name as well, where Bitcoin is now like Coke or Pepsi. They have it everywhere. You can invest in Bitcoin at Merrill Lynch, at Wells Fargo, at BlackRock, at the stock market. They have it everywhere. It's just really easy to get. And in the same way, we used to have operators like FTX and Mt. Gox, who were not prepared for this kind of things now. And we had startup operators like Coinbase who claimed to be prepared, as we're going to talk about in a later issue. Now we have the suits. Now we have the serious business people with the cascading servers and the people who figured out they could send a shorter coil of wire to get closer to the trading center. All those people now are essentially working for Bitcoin. So let's go on to the exit question. Predicting against the ball of truth, the predictor of all Bitcoin knowledge. The only prediction method that didn't tell you it was going to 12,000, didn't tell you it was going to 1,200, didn't tell you it was going to 300 as we play our it has to retrace to X number game that never works when we try to time the market, right? It never works. We always think we're smarter than the market. The market's always smarter than us. Josh Shigala, will the price be higher or lower this time next week?
I think we'll see higher. Yeah.
Victoria Jones, higher or lower?
No sign of it slowing down. So, yeah, max greed still has to be reached.
Max
Overwhelming
greed.
positivity. Will it affect the ball? Will the price of Bitcoin be higher this time next week? Without a doubt. Without a doubt. Rare positivity from the panel and the ball. Unbelievable. Let's see. We've got worldcryptonetwork.com. We've got over 3,561 videos that you can check out for free at worldcryptonetwork.com. Issue 3, Coinbase, fixing outages after users report seeing $0 account balances during the Bitcoin rally. I've had enough of this. Every rally we have to talk about Coinbase crashing, and we have to pretend like it's an acceptable thing for a server system of this size to crash because of Bitcoin demand, not Coinbase incompetence. The last time I thought would be the last time when they entered the stock market and they got all that money and you said, yeah, they can get some cascading servers. They can get some failover. They can solve this problem, even if there's great demand. And they do it again, they crash again. And to add insult to injury, they show people this $0 balance. So now people are freaking out that they've lost their money just as their money is going up, and they're there checking for a positive thing. Josh Shigala, what do you think about Coinbase having yet another outage when Bitcoin was under great demand?
Yeah, it's obviously it's a terrible thing. Like there's certain aspects of Bitcoin and crypto in general that is always anxiety producing. When you're new to it, every transaction is anxiety. Like you shift some money and you're like, is it gone? Did it work? I just want to send a test transaction first. I just want to, and you get those butterflies in the stomach until you look on like a block explorer and go, oh no, it is there. And that slowly goes away until you feel better. But to be fair on Coinbase, it's not a normal website server that you're running, you're dealing with a lot of value. You're dealing with a honeypot. You're dealing with all these ETFs. You're basically now dealing with probably one of the places on earth that has the most money concentrated in one place. And so you just can't let a heap of server admins just randomly, like there's a whole like, there's a lot of security protocol involved to deal with this stuff, because you can say, okay, but you just take the hot wallet offline. Yeah, you can say that. Okay, that's great. But these APIs, or you make them multi-sig, these APIs that show a date and you hit send, they automate stuff. So if someone gets in, injects a bit of code in the server room, like there's so much that can go absolutely haywire and wrong. So it's, think about the anxiety that those guys are feeling all the time. And so it is hard. It's hard what Coinbase is doing. It's very, very anxiety producing and hard. And I think it's a massive attack vector on the system, that the fact that the SEC is so incompetent that they would allow ETFs to all use Coinbase, all of them, every single one of them uses Coinbase as a custodian. Like, that's just demented. That's such demented logic, and waiting for Bitcoin to die, because it's like what they're doing is almost impossible. Almost impossible, but they do it. So I look up to them and applaud how they haven't really had a major attack. Yeah, they've been dicks. They've reported stuff to IRSs and the whole book. They've done a whole lot of stuff that's sort of a bit meh.
But in a lot of ways, Josh, didn't Coinbase kind of cause this and bring it on themselves when they bought their competitor Zappo, that was providing this kind of vaulting facility where Zappo could have been a custody thing, Coinbase could have been a different thing. Coinbase, like Apple, just goes into everybody's markets and makes the same app, and then we're left with no competition, no way to spread it out. When if they maybe weren't so greedy for holding the whole market, they could have said maybe having Zappo is good. Having these other competitors, like having Binance as a competitor rather than this kind of, Julius Caesar stabbed in the back 8 times, wandering around waiting to die. Like, maybe that would be better for the market if we could hold these people up, like the FTX situation as well. If FTX had survived, FTX, Binance, Zappo, Coinbase, now we have 4 places we could have custodied. Obviously, FTX would have been a disaster. More places better, less places better. What do you think, Josh?
Well, if one goes down and you've split it across 4, that's better than you've got one and that goes down, right? Obviously, it's still absolutely atrocious, and it would cause a huge crater in that graph of ours that we're loving at the moment. But yeah, it is horrible. Hold your own keys. ETFs make that impossible. ETFs is what's sucking up all of the Bitcoin. Yeah, it's scary. And we have other, you mentioned before, Victoria, this is a little bit off topic, but you mentioned the existential stuff like Mt. Gox coins, all these different coins. The government's got a bunch of coins. There is one more that existential threat that I want to talk about a little bit, just drop, because I do think it's existential enough that Kraken and all these people are putting money behind it, and that is taking Craig Wright to court. Now, if the court states that he is Satoshi, which could happen, there is a non-zero chance. And what would happen in that case? What would happen if the gavel goes down and he's said to be Satoshi? Like, even though that's unimaginable for most of us, if that does happen, we could see a huge drop in Bitcoin as well, because maybe then Craig goes on a rampage suing people for whatever, using his technology, and BSV skyrockets, and I don't know, like, what would happen. So there's a lot of different existentials out there. It's not the story's not written yet fully. So yeah.
More crises, Josh. I thought we were done when we had the Mount Gox collapse, the Silk Road collapse, all the other systems that we could see coming that were weak. But yes, more drama in Bitcoin. I don't know if
I
Craig
thought
was.
we were done if that when that ball said no doubt we're going
The
up.
ball said no doubt. So I think we're still pretty good. Yeah, the Craig Wright trial, I'm not that worried. It seems like he's losing really badly. I think he's likely to be declared not Satoshi. But I think his action is the same either way. He's got this patent play. He's got all these patents. He's going to sue anyone that uses his patent. I see him doing that if he's declared Satoshi or if he's not declared Satoshi. So we'll have to see about that either way. I do think that Coinbase could have had a more graceful fail than zero. It could have shown your previous balance, could have had a fail system where it said, hey, here's your balance 30 minutes ago. We're under extreme server load, but we want you to know everything's fine, rather than having a fail state where it comes back as zero. Even maybe a dashed line would have been better. Zero is just so terrifying for these people, especially like Josh says, early Bitcoiners don't believe in this at all. They've bought magic beans, and when they go to the store and it says their magic beans are gone, they're going to freak out. And again, we told you the banks would buy. We told you it was your chance to buy Bitcoin before the banks and that it would be gone. And now it's gone. And now you're around here saying you'd buy Bitcoin if only it would go down, if only it would go down again. Victoria Jones, what do you think about Coinbase? Once again, having outages, showing us what a young and immature industry we really are.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? I mean, I was around for the parabolic rise in 2017, and ultimately what started to slow that down was Ethereum started breaking, a number of the exchanges started breaking. I mean, we've kind of seen this before, and often that can be the sign of a top, because in one of the previous articles where it said how many ETFs were getting involved, one of the few that isn't getting involved still is Vanguard, because they define it as a speculative asset. And in many ways it is, it's still early technology. We've still got a lot of issues to iron out before it becomes what everyone hopes it will. And the trouble is, a lot of people are buying it based on its potential. And because there are so many people who don't fully understand what it is they're buying, the moment something like that happens, it becomes catastrophic, and causes them to sell. Now, presumably with the ETFs and the banks getting involved, they're going to be people who've done more of their due diligence. But as we've seen, they're not immune to stupidity either. So, and this is the first time they've done this. I think it's the first time you go through this cycle that hits you the hardest, and then next time, but yeah, I still think all of that has yet to play out. It is still early days.
All right, let's move on to the exit question. I want you to give a letter grade to Coinbase, A being excellent, F being fail. How would you rate Coinbase right now, Josh, given that they did crash again?
A C. C plus. C plus.
C plus needs improvement. Victoria Jones, how would you grade Coinbase on an A to F scale?
Oh, I'd give them an E. I mean, at this stage of the game, it's criminal, really, isn't it? Especially with the banks getting involved. I mean, it's just a recipe for disaster. You can just see it coming. So, yeah. Sorry.
It is a horribly...
manipulation. You could call it manipulation.
It does. It, like
ETFs,
Victoria said, that cuts off the momentum of the market. We were flowing forward. Suddenly we're not. Last time, I think the FTX disaster helped kill a lot of that good feeling.
Yeah. And it could be like, we can't get enough ETF coins. We can't halt the market, drop the price. Okay, zero.
Yeah, push the crash website button. Push the crash website button to save us. We can't get enough new Bitcoin. We can't satisfy the customers. We're just going to run out. So we push the crash website button.
Yeah, well, they did it with GameStop with the buy button. They turned off the buy button.
Take it down, yeah. But we need to get back to that momentum and that good feeling. And so we're going to go to issue 4 of Video Daily Double with Jim Cramer live on CNBC. Take it away, Mr. Cramer.
There's underperformance, okay? Okay, it's depressing.
I don't want to.
What has Bitcoin ever done for mankind? Are you ever on a Bitcoin phone? Watson, come here, I need you. I mean, what is it?
Well, coming up, United
How about
Healthcare
Revolve?
is apparently in.
There's underperforming.
What has Bitcoin ever done for mankind? Have you ever used a Bitcoin phone? A reference to Alexander Graham Bell that he doesn't think we're going to get. Watson, come here, I need you. Also the name of IBM supercomputer Watson and Sherlock Holmes' assistant. But yes, Jim Cramer is back and he hates Bitcoin. He attacks it. What has Bitcoin ever done for mankind? Victoria Jones, help him out. What has Bitcoin done for mankind?
Oh, that clip, honestly, as much as he seems like an idiot, it does kind of break your heart. He looks pretty devastated, doesn't he? It's just like, how can I be so wrong? And it's just like, I could have told him my book. I wrote it in 2020, Truth Decay, How Bitcoin Fixes This. It's like he just doesn't get it. So I should send him a copy. Go, there. You can read this. It's not too late. It's still early. We said so on the World Crypto Network a few weeks ago.
It is great. He's live on TV. They switched the chart behind him to the Bitcoin chart because clearly that's what he's going to talk about. And then he compares it to Apple and he's like, yeah, they're not making a phone. All they're doing is allowing people to send value or wealth across the internet, a network, without a third party, without using one third party like Bank of America that could say, no, you don't get to send any more money today, or you sent too much money, or you can't send money to that political cause because we disagree with it. It's a network that does that. It obviously has value. It obviously has more value than an Apple phone. And I like Apple stock. It's done great for me. I like Apple products. But at the same time, I'm holding Bitcoin because Bitcoin is that network that allows people to send around value or money across the internet. And it's such a great tool. We've talked before how it's like a Swiss Army knife. We could be talking value like you're an exchange and you need to borrow $10 million overnight from the overnight window. You'd have to pay a percentage on that if you used a bank. But if you used Bitcoin, you could send it for pennies. Or on the other side, if you want to do a micropayment, you could use the Lightning Network and you could send fractions of a penny with a Satoshi using the same value network that this time, unlike the internet, which we didn't get to invest in, even though we used it a lot, or MP3s, again, not getting to invest in. No one could buy, Schaffenstein or whatever the company German name was that made MP3s. But this time you got a chance to invest. We talked about it for 10 years, begging you to invest, begging our friends to invest, our family to invest. It was your chance to get in before the banks on a new investment, as if it were like Facebook stock before the IPO, before the public market, the private market, the friends and family round. That's what we tried to get you in on. But Josh Shigala, obviously Jim Cramer missed it. He sold his Bitcoin. He lost money. He feels sad. He's lashing out publicly on national, international television. What do you think, Josh?
I mean, he is a character. He's meant to be a character. He's not only a character, he's a caricature. He's even got the big buttons. He's meant to be a clown, a jester of sorts in this market. And the thing is that he, like many, told people to sell at the bottom or didn't talk about it at all. And at the top, they're just depressed because it's, doing what is unconscionable to them. And when they says, what has Bitcoin ever done? Yeah, like you said it spot on. It allows you to hold stateless value and hold it in your possession without anybody being able to take it away. And this has always been the selling point, and the fact that there's only ever going to be 21 million of them. Like, how daft do you have to be? Hey, by the way, we've got these MP3s and stuff, but by the way, now we've got a rare digital asset. Like, when I send it to you, you know that I don't have it anymore. It's the first technology where I can send you something and you absolutely know that I don't have it anymore. Oh, that's not worth anything. That's just for drug dealers and, freaks. Like, I don't understand how this simple concept can't get through the skulls of these absolute morons for so long. And then you get this hype train, and that's when they start crying, and that's when they start talking about it. Well, you talk about it when it's low, but do your viewers a favor and actually talk about it when it's low instead of talking about it only when it's high. But yeah, I mean, it's funny because he is that caricature, and seeing him melt down on TV is just more of that fun stuff. We can all laugh at him. But actually, there's the whole meme of as soon as he's like a negative correlation. So if Jim Cramer was all about the Bitcoin, if he was like, buy, this is amazing, I think it would probably be time to sell. So yeah, he's the ultimate shoeshine guy out the front of Wall Street. If he mentions it, you sell.
Well, and we were so right on this and so many other things for so long, Josh, when the modems came out and you could connect to the internet from home. And the computer geek people were all really impressed by it. When we got all the new video game technology, when we got the MP3s, the MP4s, we took down the music industry, we took down the movie industry, we took down the streaming. Everyone streams their television now. NFL, all these things offer streaming. That was all computer geeks had that first. Why wouldn't we be right about transforming the money? Why wouldn't we be right about transforming the financial economy? Things like DeFi or all these crazy altcoins or all these different attempts at things. Not to say that they're all winners, but the general idea that computer geeks who have transformed everything else in our society, we eliminated newspapers. Complete joke now. Used to be an important source of news. Complete joke. Why wouldn't that happen to money? And it's only because they're a part of the system and they're hubris and they can't see it, and they're seeing it punch through. And we'll play it one more time. Jim Cramer's classic from CNBC. Here it is.
There's underperformance, okay?
Okay.
It's depressing.
I don't want to.
What has Bitcoin ever done for mankind? Are you ever on a Bitcoin phone? Watson, come here, I need you. I mean, what is it?
Well, coming up, United
about
Healthcare
Revolve?
is apparently in.
There's underperformance.
He says something about healthcare in the end, but yes, what has Bitcoin ever done for mankind? He separates it out like the WWF villain. But yes, what a
It's a bit
what a
like
great
what have the
scene.
Romans ever done for us? It's just like, well, there were aqueducts.
And the
Yeah.
roads, all the roads everywhere. I had this fantastic map on Twitter this week just showing an outline of the roads, and it was like unbelievable how far the Roman roads could take you. And yes, Bitcoin is like the Roman roads and the aqueducts, sending the water and the commerce around the internet. It's that extra money layer that we always needed and never had. That was in the original HTML spec. It was in the original spec that we would be able to send digital money of some kind, but we never got there. But we're running out of time, so we're going to move on to predictions or a story of the week. Victoria, are you ready with a prediction or a story of the week?
Yes, I do actually. So our local Nottingham meetup has decided to take the bull by the horns and set up its own event called the Bitcoin Fest, which we're currently in the process of organising. And as part of that, I'm going to be one of the 6 speakers speaking there. And not only that, but I'm going to be live streaming the event from my YouTube channel, satoshishpage.com. Now, I started off earlier in the week and did my first live stream with one of the main organizers, and we had 130 subscribers. And as of today, I've been sending around this video to everyone, trying to get more subscribers because we need at least 1,000 so that we can live stream it without limits on the 6th of April. And so, in the past 2 days, I've got an extra 50 subscribers. So I thought I'd mention it here. If anyone watching would do me the honor of going over to my YouTube channel and giving me a subscribe. We're trying to get 1,000 subscribers before the 6th of April. So that would be really great. Thank you.
Well, that sounds great for Nottingham, and it's a great idea to try to get those subscribers. Hopefully people will go over and subscribe. Is it just a Satoshi's page? Just Google that.
Yeah, so it's YouTube channel, Satoshi's page. And I think, Thomas, you've also got the link to my Twitter down there. So we're tweeting out quite regularly what's happening. So there's a few of us trying to generate some interest. So there are 500 tickets, 100 VIP tickets. We haven't sorted out the car parking yet, but I think it's going to be a great event. The energy, all the people who are coming together and volunteering. I mean, there was a guy at the meetup the other day, he said, and one of the organizers was thinking about a magician, and someone piped up and went, "Oh, I know a magician. That can be my contribution. I'll pay for the magician." I was like, "What? It's amazing." So yeah, the energy around it is just amazing. I'm really impressed. So I think it's going to be great.
That sounds great for Nottingham too. Hopefully they've reopened the Robin Hood Museum. It was under construction when I was there. I'm sure it's all better now. Josh Shigala, prediction or a story of the week. Go ahead.
Story of the week is, yeah, just been working like crazy. We launched the yield accounts, which is great. Yeah, just stuff rolling out. It was amazing to watch 250 white hat hackers trying to break our contracts over the last month and a half, and we got that out, and now the yield accounts are live. And yeah, we're going to keep on going, keep on making it so we don't need to trust these centralized authorities to borrow anymore. And yeah, even though it is on Ethereum, so sometimes the big Bitcoiners will go, "We're fucking Ethereum," but we can't build this anywhere else. It doesn't work on Bitcoin. So we yeah, so we built it there, and it's really freaking cool, and I'm loving it. So yeah, check us out, subscribe, and like this video too, by the way. Let's get this up.
The story of the week is obviously that I shaved my beard, but that it will grow back. There you go. Everything works out in the end.
Surprise, surprise.
Thanks to everybody for joining. Be sure to give us a thumbs up down below. Until next time, bye bye.
Bye.
Wrong button. Wrong button.